bakers, it's gonna be a wild show. It's great to see you. Welcome to our holiday show. Oh my goodness. Hey Sonia, happy Saturday. Hi Patty, hi JG. Happy holidays everyone. It's crazy, just nuts. And it is 12 o'clock on the it's 12 o'clock on the West Coast, bakers, which means it's time for us to go live. We are live. Today's Dough Doctor is all about marshmallows. In fact, all the questions that came in were all about marshmallows. So I have a really ambitious show planned. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. And thank you, Sonia. You guys, I have to tell you, you hear that whine in the background? That's a mixer going in the other room because that's how much stuff we've got going on today. All right. As I said, welcome. Let me know where you're logging on from. Let me know what you're baking. And just to shout out, lots of great posts from our baker, Michelle, this week. She took off with her caramels, bakers like you wouldn't believe. She made a coffee version. She made a blood orange version. She really took the caramels next level, and then she asked about marshmallows. So Michelle, I don't know if you're in the audience or maybe watching on the archive, but thank you so much for that great inspiration. Then, once I posted we were doing marshmallows, I had a question from Regina, one of our bakers, asking about agar and vegan marshmallows. So I've got some good tidbits and techniques and tips about making vegan marshmallows. And bonjour, bonjour, welcome everyone. And when I post on the recipe to the website, there will be the base marshmallow we're doing today, and then a vegan marshmallow. All right? Okay, you guys. So we're going to work a little bit in flashback. Okay? Well, maybe not. No, I think I'm going to work in real time. All right, let's go. So we're going to start with our basic marshmallow. Now, of course, bakers, if you have regular baking questions, you just pop them in the chat. But we really got something going with this candy making, so I'm going to follow that thread, but don't be shy. Drop those questions in. I will get to them. All right. So our basic marshmallow, when we make marshmallow, bakers, we have two choices. We can make marshmallows from an egg white base and gelatin, and they're very light and fluffy when we use an egg white base, or we can leave the egg white out and we can work straight from gelatin, or the vegan version is just agar and a hot sugar syrup. Now, the thing that worries me about the egg whites is that they're not at their best. They don't have a long shelf life. They're really made, they're made to be eaten almost right away. They're not the version that you would pack in a tin and ship off to a loved one. So we're going to start with the sturdy marshmallow. All right, so this you guys can see, you know when the glass bowl mixer is on camera, it is serious. So I have cold water and gelatin blooming in the bowl, and behind me in this pot, bakers, I have water, corn syrup, and sugar. And we're going to cook this to softball stage. Softball sage. Sounds like a country western band. No, softball stage, 240 degrees. So you need a reliable candy thermometer or a big paper clip. I'm going to show you how to test for softball sugar with a paper clip. All right? Now, those of you who have seen my Craftsy classes, I do this a couple times in my Craftsy classes. I've also done it when I taught on ground in culinary school. So this may be like, oh, she's pulling out that old chestnut. But for those of you who haven't seen it, you might just think it's pretty cool. All right, so we need to bloom the gelatin for 5 minutes until it begins to look like applesauce. And I'm just using regular old Knox from the supermarket, but I wrote the recipe so that it would take 2 packages of gelatin. So if you can only find the packages, you'll just need 2. Now our pan prep, if you make them, you can make them in an 8 by 8 inch pan, but they're going to be kind of thick, and that's okay if you want them thick. But if you want to swirl them like this, then they have to be in a shallow pan. Little bit of troubleshooting with this one, but I'm going to get into it in a moment. So what have we done? This is a 1/4 sheet pan, also known as a 13 by 9 inch pan. And if you have the deeper one, it'll work for marshmallows. And what I did is I oiled it. If you have spray, you can lightly spray. I know I talk a lot about the evils of pan spray, but man, with marshmallows, it's really a savior. I don't mean to be a hypocrite, bakers, but if you're working off that last can, go ahead and use it for your holiday marshmallows. So I'm only doing one side because it's a little bit easier to handle, and I have enough grease on these sides that I know my marshmallows will release. All right, sugar's cooking, gelatin is blooming. Magic of TV, you hear it in the background. Timing, cross your fingers, bakers, will be perfect. Now there is one weird thing about the basic marshmallow recipe. In the basic marshmallow recipe, there's a small amount of corn syrup that we add after we get our sugar up to temperature. So, and what it does is it cools down the sugar syrup just a little bit, and I'm indebted to one of my colleagues, Chef Tracy, for this great tip. And so it's not such a shock to the gelatin. But is this easy to forget? I have forgotten it twice, and I had to run in and add it to the mixer, which does work. But you're not going to forget it because I'm telling you not to forget it. So just, maybe put a Post-it note, whatever you have to do when you work, when you're baking and you've got that wild card ingredient, like you bread bakers and you're doing your oddities, you've got your salt right there by the mixer. Well, this corn syrup is like that. Keep it front and center, label it if you have to. Okay, our sugar is cooking away, and when we make a sugar syrup, bakers, if it has a higher quantity of water than like a wet sand consistency, know that it's just going to take a little bit longer. That doesn't mean you go watch Netflix. Whenever you're cooking a sugar syrup, you have to stay with it, all right? I can hear the mixer slowing down in the other room, and so that means we're close. So our Magic of TV should be awesome. I'm going to just check for questions. Mama Tiger 9 is making laminated dough and pumpkin jam. Please post me in that photo or tag me. It sounds great. Awesome. All right. So I have my candy thermometer, which you guys, it's been the star of the show all month. And let's see where we're at. But I can't wait to show you this groovy trick with the paper clip. Because you might not have a candy thermometer. You might have just broken your candy thermometer. I don't know. Things happen, right? Now my great trick, I already showed you the trick with the cold water. That's the old-fashioned, tried and true. Ooh, we're getting there. Now when you look at the sugar syrup, and I apologize I don't have it on camera, but you'll see that the bubbles get smaller. They're very close together. And I discovered something else. You know, we're always learning, bakers, and that's what I love so much about the show, is you guys basically sculpt the show, like Michelle wanted marshmallows. She was asking about marshmallows, and I'm like, that's it, marshmallows. And then I just go into prep mode, and I learned so much more. So this is what I learned. Before you pour your sugar, let it just settle for maybe 15 seconds. And if you don't have a candy thermometer, you can take a paper clip. Now I won't be able to do it because I opened the paper clip too much, but that's okay. Here we go. Or a spoon with a hole. And you can blow bubbles. If you can blow bubbles, bakers, you're at 240. All right, back to our gelatin. We're going to turn this on low speed, and I'm going to pour. Put it in the comments, bakers. Did anybody see what I did in order to get the sugar to not be all over, too much, all over the side of the bowl? Put it in the comments. Did anybody notice my smooth move on the sugar? Let me know. We're gonna go to medium speed for 1 minute, and then I'm gonna add the flavorings. But I'm going to actually turn off this mixer, and I'm going to go get the magic of TV, because only one mixer, we can only handle the noise of one mixer here on the show. So after 1 minute, you would add your flavorings. So hold on, bakers. All right, so here we go, magic of TV, and here's what happened. After 1 minute of mixing on medium speed, you add your flavorings. You can also add a pinch of salt if you like, and then 5 to 7 minutes on high speed, depending on the strength of your mixer motor. If your mixer motor is not terribly powerful, don't be surprised if it takes up to 12 minutes to get this consistency. Right now, our marshmallows are just about at marshmallow fluff. And it's critical that you get that sugar to 240. Otherwise, that's another way they make fluff. When they want soft marshmallow, the sugar is cooked to 230. So if we want a standard marshmallow, then we have to go to 240. Okay, so now, any questions on that? Any questions at all? All right. So I'm going to grab my prepared pan, and I also have a piping bag. I thought it might be kind of fun to show you how to pipe marshmallows. So I'm not going to pour the whole mixture into the pan. So they're going to look thin, but just know that I'm going to show you two techniques, okay? All right. Because why not pack it in, right? They're really versatile, really fun, and a gateway to other candies like Divinity and Nougat. Okay? So I'm going to put some in my pan and the rest in my piping bag. And I would like to show you how to swirl color in them, like I did for this pan over there. Okay. Any questions? Ooh, I got to scroll down because let's just see. Mama Tiger, did I add the corn syrup? I didn't. Thank you so much. I'm going to add it now. But I'm going to keep the mixer off. I may ruin that batch of marshmallows, but we do not need any more mixer noise. I have had mixers going since 9 o'clock this morning. So it's okay. See, it's really easy to forget. You know what? If you think you're going to forget it, throw the entire amount of corn syrup in. I may write an alternative instructions. I will do that. Okay. So we're going to get this done, and then I'm going to talk about vegan marshmallows, which are all the rage. All right. So now what we're going to do is we need an offset spatula. And the marshmallow is very sticky. So if you go at this just with a regular dry spatula from your crock, what's going to happen is they're going to stick terribly. And I see your question, and I will get right to it. Hold on one second. When we start piping the marshmallows. So you could spray the offset spatula, or I'm just taking some vegetable oil on a paper towel and I am rubbing it on the offset spatula. And I'm going to get into the corners. So again, to get color in them, you need to, they need to be shallow. If they're tall, I tried it a couple times because I think they look so cool, but it doesn't work. I think what people do is they stack them. And you could do that too. You could do a couple layers. You could even do a swirl layer. You could do a plain layer and stack them, and they would look really super cool. Marshmallows can be piped. And I've gotten a lot of questions about marshmallows in silicone molds. There is kind of a problem with that. The molds have to be, there has to be a dusting of, the other magic part of marshmallows is either a dusting of powdered sugar or powdered sugar and cornstarch, which we call, it's often called 50-50. And you sift equal parts of cornstarch and powdered sugar together, and that's what you use so the marshmallows don't stick together. All right, so I just want to put you into the picture. Oh yeah, here's my corn syrup. It's going in. I'm telling you. I love the fact that it cools down the syrup a little bit, but it is so easy to forget. It's not even funny. You just saw me forget it. And I'm not supposed to forget things. I'm your dough doctor. I don't leave scalpels in the marshmallows. I don't leave out the corn syrup. And then I do. All right, so now I'm using Wilton Color, If you have liquid color, not the supermarket one, but the gel color like Chef Master or the other brand that I can't remember right now, you can do droplets, but don't use too much. It doesn't take very much at all. So what I do is I just see the color and I just start tapping it through. And then, okay, I need more. So I'm going to wipe. I don't want to contaminate my food color. So I wipe the skewer clean. You can use a toothpick. You can use a couple of toothpicks. That's fine. The next part is so much fun. You're going to just die. And you could do any color you want. You could make them blue and white for Hanukkah. You could make many, many colors just so they don't bleed together. But we're gonna be a little traditional. And I did flavor these marshmallows with peppermint extract. And I'm using Armoretti's peppermint extract, which is excellent, but any mint extract will also work. You can also flavor them with creme de menthe, like mint liqueur. That's totally fine. All right. So see this, sort of my, I don't know if it looks like a Rorschach test or gone wrong or exactly what it looks like, but now you're going to take your skewer and you're going to start to just pull the color through. And any of the marshmallows, the basic marshmallow, the vegan marshmallow, you can do this with. If you want them, I like them kind of subtle, you know, so I'm going to be a little conservative with the color. And you can't smooth the over. You don't do that. That's very bad. Then it all becomes one color. So this goes away. Don't be tempted. Don't look at it and say, well, it's not perfect. My perfectionists out there, and you know who you are. This goes in the sink. There we go. I'm right there with you. If you have a spot that's kind of needs a little bit more, clean your skewer and just go for it. It's really fun. Really, really fun. But you have to make sure you go all the way to the bottom of the pan, or else when we invert the marshmallows, we won't see any striping. All right. So there we go. Oh, I'm going to ask about. I'm going to answer that. Now you let them set up for about 2 hours at room temperature, and then they'll be ready to be unmolded and cut. So that is our basic marshmallow. So let me and then I'm going to go to piping, then I'm going to start to handle some questions. But they're really, really pretty, super, super fun. All right, we'll get those out of the way. I'm going to give my table a quick wipe here because the sugar syrup went off the rails, and I'll talk about when to add the corn syrup. And I am also going to write the recipe. I'm going to write a little addendum to the recipe. Because that corn syrup, forgetting that corn syrup is a menace. All right. So I'm going to pipe into this little pan. But what I have to do first is find my 50-50. Oh yeah, here it is. And you need like a tea strainer. And I am just gonna dust this like crazy. You can flavor the marshmallows with lavender. You can flavor them with any flavoring, any extract, green tea, like really, really fun. But you need a liberal coating of the 50-50. Some people like to just use powdered sugar, and that's okay. And you don't want this to sit too long because it'll start to set up. And let me tell you the tip size that I'm using. If I can see it, kind of going blind. It's an 8/26. And the way we pipe them, you guys can see, what's really cool, and I think Chef Daniel's in the audience, he did this a couple times for competition, you can pipe, you just are piping a strand, and then you release pressure and slide off. So, whoops, yep, that's not good. So, well, that was a good learning experience. Stuff's always going to happen. That's what I love about being live bakers. No need to get upset. We just fix it. Anyway, let me finish that sentence. You can pipe them in a line, let them set, and if it's long enough, obviously not on this teeny tiny sheet pan, you can tie them. And they look so super, super cool. So let me try that again. So you've got the bag at a slight angle, and you just squeeze even pressure. And then let go, and slide off. I just came back toward myself, all right? Now this one that I messed up, I'm actually going to remove because I want to show you one more thing that you can do with piping. And I'm seeing a lot of this on the internet with marshmallows. And a lot of it for like wedding favors, which is kind of interesting. And what you can do is, you just need to make sure you're in that 50-50 or else really bad things will happen. I want to show you how to pipe rosettes with them. Just a pretty little ball of marshmallows. You can use a plain tip as well. Don't have a tip, you can use a Ziploc bag. Cut the corner off, okay? But for a rosette, what you're going to do is you're just going to start in the center. You're going to wrap around till it's as tall as you like it, and then you're going to slide off. Want to see that again? I bet you do. So I prefer this. I prefer molding them I prefer piping them to molding them, because you can do the molds, but you have to dust the molds with the 50-50 first. If you spray or oil the molds, you're going to have that residue on your marshmallows. So it's a little tricky. It's not quite like gummy candies or pâte fouille or chocolate in molds. Or even hard candies mold beautifully. All right, let me just finish this piping bag and we'll go on to the questions that came in this week. And then I'm going to dust these a little bit, and then they will go and dry as well. Okay, let me just clean my table, and I'm going to cover the vegan for our baker Regina, and I'm going to check for questions, and I'm hoping that the marshmallows that I just made, I might be able to cut. One thing before I move on to the vegan marshmallow, I want to show you what can happen. They're not too bad, but if you undercook the sugar, they're too soft. Like these, they have been sitting, and see how that comes back over on itself? Again, this would be like marshmallow fluff consistency, but it won't work for a regular marshmallow. I wanted to show you this to really underscore in candy making, which we've been doing for the past couple of weeks, why it's so important to hit those temperatures. And I know that it's kind of fun with the paper clip, but if you're inspired and you want to make Really, you want to make nice candies and be certain you're hitting your temperatures. Make sure you invest in a good candy thermometer. Okay? All right, so let's see where we're at. Just always looking to wipe my hands. All right, bakers. Can I pipe a bow? Mama Tiger 9, can I pipe a bow? Yes, I can pipe a bow. Yes, Vicki, it was Americolor and Chef Master. I couldn't remember Americolor. And then Katie Moulad. So here's the answer about the corn syrup. So I had written the recipe, again, on a very excellent, from one of my colleagues, Chef Tracy, who's really a great pastry chef. She had this suggestion of adding a little bit of corn syrup to cool down the hot sugar syrup so that the gelatin wasn't blasted with the hot syrup. Now, gelatin is pretty resilient. It doesn't really hurt it like it might cook, like if it doesn't really hurt it all that much. But it's problematic because you saw me live on camera in front of all of you absolutely forget it. So, and if you do, you just do what I did. You just add it and it'll work. But I may rewrite the recipe, bakers. In fact, I know I'm going to post the recipe where all the corn syrup goes in and you won't have to worry about it. Okay? So Mama Tiger, can I pipe a bow? Yes, but you know what? I'm out of marshmallow batter. So what I'm going to do is my troubleshooting the marshmallow fluff that was cooked at 230 so I could show you what happens. I'm going to pipe that because I think it might be pipeable. So bakers, hold on 1 second. At least to show you the technique. Now I want to start, so look what I'm doing. I'm starting by really, again, dusting. I have an endless supply of these small. And I've got my pastry bag, 826 tip. All right, let's go. Yeah, I can pipe this. All right. Now it won't set up, but that's okay. The show will be over. So you guys can, and I'll just let it go. But at least you can see the technique. All right, so bow making 101 is we always start with our loops no matter what we're doing. At least that's the way I was always taught. And I have to say I have taken some really amazing decorating classes over the years. So what you're going to do is you can like just start and you're going to just do your loops. And then just come down for the ribbons. That's a huge bow, but that's how it's, well, I did it again. My God. I did it again. Well, amazing. We start over. This is a baking show, not an improv show, but today you would never know. All right, so we're going to pipe our loops, and I'm going to try to do it. And I'm not going to, so that you guys can see it. Just have fun and experiment with it. But just know, loops first, properly cooked marshmallow on a nice bed of 50-50, and you're good to go. And you know what? Make a batch of marshmallows and practice piping because they won't probably be to your standards, bakers, until you get to that second batch of marshmallow. All right, before we go, I'm going to talk a little bit about the vegan marshmallows and working with agar. So gelatin and agar are pretty similar in that they thicken liquids. But agar does, where gelatin is extremely consistent, and in the pastry chef world not only comes in powder form but comes in leaf form, and the leaf form is it's labeled silver, gold, and platinum for different strengths of setting. Agar is a natural product. It comes from a type of red seaweed, and it can vary. It comes in flakes and it comes in powder form. I much prefer the powder form because I feel it's easier to use. And agar has to be boiled for 2 to 3 minutes to activate its setting. So in the vegan marshmallow, the agar and the water from the sugar syrup are boiled first. The agar is hydrated, then it's brought to a boil for 2 to 3 minutes, then the sugar is added, and then the sugar syrup is finished, and the entire process is very similar to what I showed you with the basic marshmallow. But that's how the agar is handled. So it becomes part of the sugar syrup as opposed to the sugar syrup being poured on top of it. The best brand I feel that's out there, the most consistent, and I've taken several vegan baking courses and plant-based vegan courses just to make sure I'm really on my game with whatever you might ask. Telegraph brand. And that's easy to remember because we don't have telegraphs anymore, but it's kind of cool. And I find it in online sources. You can find it in some markets as well. All right? Everyone, we are going to go dark for 2 weeks because next week is Christmas Eve and the week after that is New Year's Eve, and you're either going to be running around or running around some more. So the Dough Doctor will be back here live on January 6th, Saturday, January 6th at noon Pacific. And I look so forward to seeing you and hearing about your great holidays. If you have questions, just message me. I'm always here. So again, no show for 2 weeks. I'll see you back here at noon Pacific on January 6th. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and most importantly, Happy Baking. Bye! If you make those marshmallows, tag me.